Welcome to the Bosman Viewing. Today we're going to discuss an obscure player, somewhat of a cult figure in world football, but before we get started, let's see this guy in action. This man is undeniable and instantly recognisable, the one and only Taribo West. This African legend was born in Nigeria, and more specific the South region of Port Harcourt. This is when he was discovered by Monday Sinclair. He had a rough upbringing, but he did everything he could to turn this into a career and spent every day of his childhood playing football, until he was discovered and recruited to play for the Sharks. At this point he played for multiple teams in Nigeria, including Enugu Rangers and Julius Berger, and he was also being scouted by a number of European teams. It was at this point he got his big break in football. After having a successful trial in 1993 by Auxerre, they decided to sign the young defender. He didn't make his competitive debut until 1994, but at which point he became a first team regular, helping the team win their first league in 95-96 and represent the club in the Champions League. This was when the big teams in European football started to notice him, and he was signed by Inter Milan. He signed a 4-year deal with the club in 1997 and in turn became the first African player to play for Inter Milan. There were some questions asked at the time of his signing to see if he was going to be able to step up to this level, as Serie A was easily the #1 league in the world. But after a few commanding performances and his commitment to the club, he did not disappoint. He settled in at the club pretty quickly and usually made an impact in the big games like the Milan derbies. The fans will remember the way he commanded that defence and put everything he had into the cause. He became a regular member of the first team squad, often making between 20 to 30 appearances per season, and represented them in the European competitions also. His biggest success with the club arguably came in European football also. He was a member of that memorable 1997-1998 UEFA Cup squad with players like Ronaldo, Zamorano and Simeone. Unfortunately, West was sent off in the final against Lazio, however the squad was able to gather together and push through to win the cup. A popular figure in the dressing room, unfortunately this was the beginning of the end of his Inter Milan career. He became less and less involved in the first team, and at this point transfer rumours started to circle. This was when he surprised everyone and signed for the rivals AC Milan. He only ended up making a total of 4 appearances for the club and scoring 1 goal against Udinese in May 2000. There were rumours circulating about why he was not a success at the club, some people even saying that the Mafia got involved, not wanting him to represent AC Milan and replace their ageing Italian defenders. However, his fall from grace happened quickly. He went from playing for 2 of the biggest clubs in world football to Derby County in the English Premier League. No offence to any Derby County fans that may see this, but that is a significant drop. He signed an initial 3-month loan deal with the team in November 2000, and he actually helped him avoid relegation and extended the loan until the end of the season. Derby County won 31 out of their total 42 points with him in the lineup, so he definitely made an impact. However, he decided not to stick around and left for Kaiserslautern in the German league. This move proved to be a disaster for both the player and the club. He ended up only making 10 league appearances for them, and he was released by the club after coming to a total disagreement. They were citing a lack of fitness from the player. At this point he had trials with numerous European clubs, however he opted to join Serbian champions Partizan. Fortunately this move proved to be much more successful. He became an integral part of the first team squad and helped to win their first league in 2002 to 2003. From here he also helped the club reach the group stage in the Champions League, knocking out Newcastle in the process. Despite injuries at the time, his experience proved valuable for the squad, and he even played against some of his old teammates like Ronaldo. However, by 2004 it became clear he was not going to stay here for much longer, and they left by mutual consent. At this point he had to come to a decision to decide where was the next best move for Taribo West. After cancelling the initial contract he had signed with Al Arabi, he went back to England to play for Plymouth Argyle. Injuries and age began to play its toll on the player at this point. He ended up making 5 appearances before the club terminated his contract. This is the last kick of the ball that Taribo West would make for a professional club. Now let's step back to the early stages of his career and this time talk about international football. He made his debut for Nigeria in 1994 in a game against Sweden. and from where he went on to become a member of the Olympic squad in the 1996 Games in Atlanta. He was a major part of this squad and he played every single minute of the tournament. They surprised everyone at these games, going on to win the gold medal. This made everyone in world football stand up and recognise this squad as a real threat for the World Cup coming up at France '98. And having players like West, Kanu and Okocha in the squad, this is something they set out to achieve. It was also around this time that West began becoming a cult figure in world football. Some of that could be down to the performances on the field, however another big reason behind it was his style and hairstyles that he had at all these tournaments. No matter where you were watching the game, you knew when Taribo West had the ball. Expectations were now much higher for the Nigeria squad, and they had an okay World Cup where they made it through the group stages, they won some important games, they put in some good performances, but ultimately it ended in failure when they were eliminated by Denmark in the round of 16. Some people say this was the best chance Nigeria ever had to get to the final of a World Cup. The next tournament for West would be the 2000 African Cup of Nations, where he played every minute of every game when Nigeria finished runners-up to Cameroon. From here would then be the 2002 World Cup, where Nigeria, still in their prime, were hoping to have some success on the international stage. Unfortunately, this time they were drawn in what's called the Group of Death, when they had Argentina, Sweden and England in their group. Due to the level of competition they faced, they were unable to win a game and finished bottom of the group, exiting the World Cup. Things went from bad to worse for West, as after the tournament the Nigeria coach blamed him for their team's failure. He continued representing his country up until 2005, at which point he had locked in his place as a legend of the Super Eagles. Outside of playing football, West was also becoming somewhat of a legend and a cult figure within the game's championship manager and football manager. To a certain generation of football fans, when they see the name Taribo West, they just think about sending him on a free transfer and becoming one of the best defenders in the game. This only went on to enhance his reputation as a fan favourite. Since retirement, West has followed his passion and as a devout Christian decided to become a pastor in 2014, and he founded his own church called Shelter in the Storm, Miracle Ministries of All Nations in Lagos. A memorable career filled with ups and downs. That was our obscure player profile talking about Taribo West. We hope you enjoyed the video. This is the Bosman Viewing, so if you're new to the channel, check out our other content. We've got lots of different football videos on here. If you enjoyed this, if you could thumbs it up, that'd be great. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.